Hey everyone, RJ here with CV Tech, and today I'll be doing a speed test comparison between the LG Stylo 5 and the LG Stylo 4. Let's get it started. Okay, so looking here at the Stylo 5 and the Stylo 4, now y'all know there's not been much of a change between the 4 and the 5. However, on Straight Talk, there was a bump in the RAM, a bump in the internal storage, but other than that, the phones are pretty much the same. So starting off here with the specs, both phones run the octa-core Snapdragon 450 processor. The Stylo 4 has 2 gigabytes of RAM and 16 gigabytes of storage. Stylo 5 has 3 gigabytes of RAM and 32 gigabytes of storage. Other than that, they're pretty much the same phone. This one here is a darker color blue. This is a lighter color blue. But standing the phones up side by side here, they're exactly the same width, same height. Looking on top there, all the antenna bands, microphone, the right side power button here, the left volume rockers, the SIM trays, bottom, everything is pretty much the same here on these devices except for the camera and the flash is in together on the Stylo 5, while the camera and flash is separate here on the Stylo 4. Fingerprint scanners in the same spot and all that kind of stuff there. Let's go ahead first of all and do a boot up test starting now. Alright, there we go. Stylo 5, Stylo 4. Both of them have the light up top here for notifications, which is really nice. For facing cameras, of course, 5 megapixel, I do believe. They're in the same spot. So we'll see which one starts up first here. They're going to be pretty equal here, it looks to be. So give it a second. See which one powers on first. It's going to be close, but the Stylo 5 did take it here over the Stylo 4. Okay, so here on the main screen, I won't be testing the fingerprint scanners out because the Stylo 4 is not my phone. I borrowed it for this test and my fingerprint is not set up for it. But I imagine they're about the same anyway. Look at the phone here. You can kind of look and tell that they're pretty much the exact same phone. The same size display. They're both full 1080p. And they both look really good, to be honest with you. The screens look crisp, clear, and sharp. But let's go ahead and check out a few benchmark scores. I did run some Geekbench 4 and Antutu, so let's go ahead and check those out now. So you can see here on the Stylo 5, got a score of 779 single core score and 3970 multi-core score. On Stylo 4, single core score of 726 and multi-core score of 3294. Running Android 9 Pie here and Android 8.1 Oreo over here. Let's go ahead and check out Antutu. And the Stylo 5 got a score of 91,153, and the Stylo 4 got a score of 83,741. So we're going to see just, how close these phones are together. We'll go ahead and clear both of these apps out. Now stay tuned for the video because at the end I will kind of be giving you my thoughts on the Stylo 5 against the Stylo 4 and everything, and if it's really worth paying $200 for this phone. Now this is Straight Talk, so it's $200 if you buy it at Walmart. I know they got them at Metro, Cricket, Boost Mobile. They're all various prices and port-in deals, stuff like that. But if you buy it on Straight Talk, it is $200. And as far as I know, the Stylo 4 is around $129 to $149 still, which in my opinion is just way too much money for this phone. And before I get started, normally I have Instagram and Snapchat included in these tests. However, the Stylo 4 would not install those two applications, so I had to change it up a little bit. But anyway, let's just go ahead and get in with this test, starting now. And now was the Stylo 5 barely. Let's go into YouTube. Stylo 5 took it. Let's go into calculator. Stylo 5 got it. Let's go into calendar. Stylo 4 took that one. Let's go into the clock. I called it to the Stylo 4 just barely. Let's go into the camera. Stylo 4 showed up first there. Let's go into Amazon shopping. That was the Stylo 5 took it there. Let's go into Hulu. Ooh, that was close, but I think the Stylo 5 barely took it. Let's go into the Play Store. Stylo 5 pretty much had it. Let's go into the settings. Stylo 4 barely had it. Let's go into the Prime Video. Ooh, that was close. Too close. Let's go into Twitter. Stylo 5 barely took it again. Netflix. And that was the Stylo 4. Let's go into Temple Run 2. So as you're seeing here, a bump in the RAM, a bump in the storage, it really didn't improve it enough, in my opinion. You know, use most of these phones here like I have, I can't tell much of a difference, to be honest. Gaming's going to be a little bit faster with the extra RAM, as you see there, but what, by a quarter or a half a second? I mean, we'll check it out right now when it stops loading, and there you go. So about a second there before the Stylo 4 caught up. Let's go into Subway Surfer. So both of these phones here are still pretty much on par with each other. I think for the price of these phones, a much better processor would have been nice, but yeah, you're seeing there on Subway Surfer a lot faster there on the Stylo 5. Let's go back home and go into Dead Trigger. I will attempt some RAM management here after this to see just what happens, but let's do which one starts at first, and that was barely the Stylo 4. So let's go ahead and go back home here, and we'll do some RAM management tests here, starting with the Stylo 4. Going into Dead Trigger, it was open. Subway Surfer, it was open. Temple Run 2. Netflix had to reload. Twitter had to reload. Everything is reloading here as you're seeing it right now, and it don't even want to sometimes press just right, but everything is loading. No point in going on any further with that. Let's test out and see how the extra RAM does here on the Stylo 5. Dead Trigger, now it's open. Subway Surfer, Temple Run 2, there we go. Netflix was open, Twitter was open, Prime Video reloaded, that was open, Play Store was open, Hulu was still open, Amazon had to reload, the clock was open, calendar was open, calculator reload, YouTube reload, and the Bible reloaded as well. So yeah, I mean, the extra gigabyte of RAM does, hold more apps open in the background. I was kind of surprised at how many apps it did open in the background, or was open in the background. But to be honest with you, in normal day-to-day usage, I mean, since I've had the Stylo 5, it just hasn't been the smoothest experience, to be honest. I go to the settings, swipe up, it chops really bad. I go into the app drawer, it chops. I'm not going to do any kind of gaming test with Stylo 5 because it'll play light to medium games fine, but if you want to play Call of Duty, it'll probably play it just fine, but you're going to have some hiccups. You're going to have some stutter, some freezing on both phones here because they're just not, for the price point of these phones. I can't personally say that they are good buys. Okay, just because it has a stylus pin on the bottom of both of these phones does not make it worth $200. The 450 processor is pretty outdated, and it has 3 gigabytes of RAM in the Stylo 5, 32 gigabytes of storage in the Stylo 5. But honestly, for $200, there is much better phones out there. Spend a bit extra if you can. Buy a Galaxy A20 or something like that. Even an A10e is probably going to outdo this phone here. But that's just my opinion. I mean, everybody has their own opinions. Y'all know how I feel about the Stylos. Stylos, in my opinion, they just have not done much with their phones at all. And for $200, no, I can't recommend either one, Stylo 4 or the Stylo 5, because they're just way underpowered for the price. But that's just my personal opinion. But there's the test. They're very, very similar. Gaming does do a bit better here, opening up first on the Stylo 5, of course, with the extra RAM and the extra storage. However, in day-to-day usage, I don't see much difference. So if this was helpful and informative in any way, hit that like button. Any questions that you may have about these phones, leave it down below, and I'll get back with you as soon as possible. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. I'd appreciate it. Y'all have a good one, and thanks for watching.